Hi guys! All right, so if you guys have completed your nose, this dealio, and practiced 2 different times, let's go on to our eye or eyes. I'm going to turn my paper this way so I can fit my eye in better here. And then, I mean, you guys don't have to do this. You guys can totally leave it the other way, but this is just going to be a better spacing for my eye. All right, don't forget, and we'll turn it back here. Don't forget to be checking these off at the end, or even while you are drawing your eye. Okay, so let's talk about eyes and eye shapes. Eyes are not circular. Like I said the other day, they are not these circle things that, many cartoonists draw. Eyes are actually very almond shaped, just like kind of how we talked about the other day. We're going to get in a little bit more depth about the eye shape. So, almond shape, or like, I don't know, what else is another shape of an eye? Like a seed type shape. But here is my eye. Okay, so I'm using my blocking in kind of methods as well as my ghost lines. At the very edge of your eye, we have these like little things. I actually don't know the scientific name, but like it's like where our tear duct is. And it's very like circular. It's not very like pointy at the very edge of your eye. Okay, same with over here. It's kind of more not as pointy as people think it is. All right, then next we have our pupil. We're going to draw our pupil. Our pupil actually is a circle, right? And it starts at the top of our eye and pretty much takes up the entire space of your almond shape. And it's a circle. So I'm going to draw my ghost lines a few different times to draw out an eye. Okay, remember we're using ghost lines, and then from there we're going to add in our values and shade it to make it look less cartoony, more of an eye. Okay, we also have, some people have different types of lids. So there's a monolid and there's also a double lid. So if you have a double lid, it kind of has like this very, like it varies from person to person, but there is a line above it. And then there's also above your eye is your eyebrow, and we're not going to really draw your eyebrow in. We drew that the other day. Okay, there's part of my eyebrow. It's off the page. Okay, so eyes. We're also going to draw, so we have, oops, I think I did that wrong. I said pupil, but it's really iris. So we have an iris, and now we're going to draw our pupil. Depending on what type of lighting you're in, your pupil can be big or it could be small. So if your pupil is really big, that means it's very dim light. If your pupil is very small, that means it's very bright light. It's just a way of our body protecting our eyes and our vision, which is kind of cool. I always found that fascinating. Okay, so we have our pupil, we have our iris, we have our eyeball, right? That kind of sits there. We also have these little things that I don't know. I don't even know what they're called. They're like part of the, we no longer use them. I know that dogs have them still. It's like a second eyelid. It's right there. Okay. Let's start by shading this thing. This is going to be kind of a beast to do, but we're going to do it. Our darkest dark area would be our pupil. So let's go in and add our darkest dark. Remember, when you're shading, you're using the side of your utensil. So if you're using a color pencil, still the same thing. You'd be doing it omnidirectionally. If you're using charcoal, good luck. I'm using a pencil. Just a regular graphite pencil. I'm going omnidirectionally, making these little shading things. I'm going to go over this a few times, right? Because this is our darkest dark. It's going to be the blackest section. I'm really sorry if the camera is shaking right now. Here, I'll try to hold it and draw at the same time. Really pushing hard to get my color in there, and there we kind of go. Okay. Oops, I forgot to add the highlight. We're going to add a highlight. I forgot to add the highlight. So I'm going to erase a part of the shading that I just did. Don't do this. You probably already did. All right, whatever. Here is a highlight. Oh, well, you guys, it's fine. So there's a highlight. All right. So the really cool thing about our irises is they're kind of like a muscle. They like contract, they go in and out. And with that, they have these like fibrous things. Depending on your eye color, they could be different, I don't know, things. I always have drawn them kind of like this. They are very shaky, right? And they also connect on this side. They're very fibrous. I'm just adding in these lines, and then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to shade over top of them. Okay, so I have these lines. I'm going to start very close to my pupil, and I'm going to add a darker kind of line. Depending on the eye, it could be lighter, who knows? But they're very kind of like fibrous, and they're very varied, and they're not very much the same. So I'm going to go ahead and add some variety. Remember that word? Variety of my little zigzaggy lines in my iris. I'm really bummed that I didn't leave that white. Let's go back and erase that really good. I completely forgot. Oh well. Okay, moving on. Keep going. I am now going to try to like shade in this section. Of my iris. I'm going to be moving my paper so I can get better angles. If you have really light eyes, I would do this lightly. If you have dark eyes, very dark. My eyes are really weird. I actually have like a really light rim around my eye right here. It's very subtle, but you can still see it. It's kind of cool. Oops. Okay. Eye. Going back in and adding some different kind of lines. I know that we're not supposed to be adding lines necessarily, but this part of the eye has a ton of fibrous type of line area. Okay. Sorry if it's glary. You guys can see that a little bit better, hopefully. Okay. Same with the edge. I might go in and add a little bit more. I need to shade this section. Getting it very circular. Okay, now I can go back in and erase these guidelines, my little ghost lines. I don't like that eraser. This eraser's better. Okay. So I have those down. I should say, feel free to pause my video at any time for you guys to catch up with you. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about eyelashes. So we have like an eye, right? Our eyelashes don't come straight up off of our eye. They actually come out at kind of an angle, and they're very curved. Some are curved more than others, but they don't come straight out. They kind of come off to the side, and there's actually kind of like this rim that kind of sits around your eye. So go ahead and add in this little extra skin, right? So like this is where your eyelid is, closes and touches onto your eye. And then there's this little kind of like thing of skin, this little thing. And this is where our actual eyelashes are going to come out of. So they're not going to be touching this line. They're going to be sitting in the middle over here. I'm going to start with these ones over here and just work my way out. I want to make sure that they look very full, and I'm going to continue all the way over. Okay. This is not how we're going to be drawing hair. This is just how we're drawing our eyelashes. So you layer them. Mine are not curving the way I wanted them to. There we go. Now they're curving. Okay. I gotta erase these. These are bugging me. My bad, guys. I'm kind of picky about my eyelashes. That's a good thing about pencils, is that you can always go back and erase. Huh. If you draw them light enough the first time, you can go back and erase. All right, once again, going in and adding in that little skin layer. This is where they're going to be starting. I'm doing some ghost lines to get that curve. There we go. That's what I wanted. I'm turning my paper also so I can get the curve better with my pencil. Turn the paper how it best fits for you. There are some full eyelashes. There we go. Okay. You're still going to see kind of this fold behind. Okay. Let's move on to the bottom ones. The same idea. This is going to be sitting on the inside of my eye. You might have some on the outside. Okay, these ones are curving away and down. And then when you get over here, they start to curve the other way. These ones in the middle kind of go straight down. I know it's weird to think about eyelashes on both sides of your eyes, but they are there on both sides. All right, so now we need to think about shading the actual eye. This is a very flat eye. The eyeball, the iris, or the eye white. We're gonna shade this very lightly. It's gonna be a little bit darker on the edges, and I'm actually gonna shade, and then I'm actually gonna go back and erase. So I'm shading all the way to the edge of my eye, right? Because your eyeball is actually an eyeball, right? It's sitting behind your eyelids. And it's an actual sphere, just like how the nose was like a sphere. Do you remember how we did the nose a sphere? Your eyeball is the same way, right? It's a ball covered by eyelids. If you guys were taking a sculpture class, it's really cool how to do this. Like, here's one eyelid and there's the other eyelid and your eyeball sits behind it. It's fun. It's pretty fun. I like it. But we are shading, right? Because we are shading the sphere of our eye, the eyeball. So I am shading very lightly, going all the way to the edges. And then I'm gonna go back and I'm going to erase to get my very light white of my eye. And I'm just doing that very close to my iris. Right, and just very lightly touching it. Okay. Underneath my eye, there's going to be some shading as well. Underneath my eyelashes, right? Just like their nose, we don't want it to be sitting out in space. We want it to be sitting on skin. Around the eye, on this side of your eye, right? Because this is the nose right here. There's kind of like, it sits kind of like a pocket. So it's going to be a little bit darker around here because there's less light that can get into this space. So once again, we're using the side. Kind of here's like the start of the bridge of the nose, right? And going up into the nose bridge area, this section is going to be a little bit lighter, or darker, I should say, not lighter. Sorry, my bad. Underneath, right? This is your start of your eyebrow. We might need to go back over our eyelashes to make them a little bit darker. I'm pushing harder around this part of my eye. Like I said, it's gonna be like kind of like a little pocket. Sometimes you guys, I don't know about you, but I have deep dark circles underneath my eye. I know it's sad. But as we add some shading, it starts to build up. This section is also going to be a little bit lighter, or darker, I should say, than what I had. Okay, now I'm going to go back in and add like a shade right next to the eye. Forgot to do this earlier. Should have done this first. My bad. I haven't taught face proportions in a long time, guys. It's been a minute. Okay. So now I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna make my eyelashes a little bit darker, make them look a little bit fuller. Like I said, as we get towards the middle, they start to curve the other way. And I think we're good with the eye. What do you guys think? Pretty good. Maybe shade this section. Let's go through our checkoff list right now. Okay, I'm gonna turn it this way. Criteria, check below if these are completed. It has the correct proportions, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we use the blocking in method. We use ghost lines. There's 5 different values. So we have our darkest darks and we have our lightest lights. This should be light, light, my bad. We have at least 5 values. We have an implied line. So like this line is implied that it continues. Same with these ones down here. This area is an implied line down here. Cool. There's no bold lines to make it look cartoonish. There you go. There's your eye. I want you guys now to draw out 2 more, practice 2 more times. Maybe do, I don't know, different types of eyes, different colors. All right, bye.